Alright, so to everybody that's already subscribed to the channel, I just want to say I appreciate it. To everybody that's just finding out about the channel, just discovering it on YouTube, hit that like, that subscribe button, hit the bell button so every time I can't sleep at night or can't sit still, you get notified whenever I upload another video. So without further ado, let's get to it. Alright, so I got the wife Cricut Air 2 Explorer, something like that. A year or two ago for Christmas. We never really used it, so now that I kind of got into some woodworking stuff, we're making it useful. So she prints out, if you can see this, she prints out pretty much what anybody wants, whatever I need. I stick it on here and pretty much use it as a stencil. Probably not the best way, but for now it works. So let's take this off and see what we have to carve out. Alright, so this is probably one of my favorite things to do. So now whenever I get the router, I'll carve all this out. This is where I'll put the epoxy. Now we have to get these letters out of here. And for anybody that was wondering, I stick these on this piece of wood. Obviously it's all plain like this. And I use spray paint. I'm sure somebody's gonna ask why I don't use stain, but spray paint just, it dries a lot faster. I'm a pretty impatient person, but it dries a lot faster. And once the epoxy is over, it really doesn't matter that it's spray paint. It'll all be sealed in anyway. Alright, so this is what I'll be carving out with the router. He's a plunge router. But this is what I'll be carving out, all this negative space here. And then epoxy be poured into everything after it's all carved out. So pretty simple process. It's going to be pretty tedious getting in here, but I just got a few new tips, or bits I should say, for the router, so it shouldn't be too hard. So time to do the letters. So I made a smaller router bit. I'm gonna go from that 1/8 bit to a 1/16. This is a 1/16, and then after that, if I need, this is a detailing router bit for some super fine work. So if I need to, I'll break that bad boy out, get all those letters done nice. Got a little bit of cursive to do. We'll see if we can't get these letters looking good. Alright, so we're about to pour the epoxy for the letters. We're going to go with this turquoise. It's called Mint. But we're going to do that. We're going to get that poured in these letters and in the moons. Alright, last step in this whole process, pouring the clear epoxy over this. So I use the tape to make a border so that whenever I pour it up here, it doesn't just run off the edges. I want it to kind of coat the edges. So I'll leave the tape up here for about 45 minutes to kind of let the epoxy set up. And then once it does, then I'll take the tape off. It'll move a lot slower and be a lot easier to control. So let's get to it. Alright, now you can use a heat gun to get rid of all the bubbles. So whenever it dries, it'll be crystal clear. Give this about another 10 minutes, let the bubbles that are in there rise to the top, and then I'll use the heat gun, go over it again. I'll do this about 3 or 4 times. Then after about 45 minutes to an hour, I'll take the tape off, let it all run around the edges, smooth it out on the bottom, and then let it dry. It should be dry to the touch in about 5 hours, but I'm gonna let this sit overnight, and then in the morning, I'll show you guys how it looks. Alright guys, here we are, 12 hours later. This is the final product. Came out really clear. You can see my reflection. Appreciate you for tuning in. Hit that bell button so whenever I post the next video, you'll get notified.